Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce weekly webinar. You might wonder what Stephanie and I are doing here, but we're actually here for the final installment, yes, finally, the last installment of how to maximize your chamber membership. So today it's going to be mastering the art of involvement. So we're going to talk about the creme de la creme, the top tier, the thing that means you are completely engulfed in the chamber. So we've got a couple of things to talk about today. It's going to be about board membership, about leadership, and about chairman's club. So we'll kind of go into those a little bit, and at the end we'll have a live Q&A. As always, these are recorded and they're posted on Facebook, on the chamber website, and on YouTube for you guys to view and share afterwards at your leisure. So at this time, we're going to start our presentation, and then we will bring Stephanie back at the end for the live Q&A. Alrighty, we are good to go now. So today's webinar, Master the Art of Involvement in the Chamber, Board of Directors, Leadership, and Chairman's Club. So we're going to go into a little bit about what that means, and we're going to start with the Board of Directors. They are basically our backbone, they're our foundation here, and they're really what helps the chamber kind of move forward with anything that they're going to do. So what is board governance? Governance is the framework in which the Board of Directors clarifies an organization's purpose and values, sets its long-term goals, and acquires the means to realize these goals. Governance aligns the interest of board members, staff, and stakeholders. Governance includes fiduciary, policy, legal, and evaluative responsibilities. And we'll go into that a little bit more as we move through this. So fiduciary duties, that is duty of care, duty of loyalty, and duty of obedience. The Board of Directors' major responsibilities: providing continuity for the organization, select and evaluate president and CEO, govern through board policies and objectives, acquire sufficient resources for operations, account to the public for products and services. Funny enough, some of you might not know that, is that our board of about 30 people actually hand-selected Stephanie, who is our current president and CEO. And so anytime that the president and CEO is brought in, this is who helps make that decision. It is the board of directors. So, following the organization's mission and purpose, review mission, objectives, strategies periodically for accuracy and validity, represent the organization's point of view by explaining products and services. Why is what the organization does relevant? And they do this usually through the monthly board meeting, which is once a month. Ours is the last Wednesday of the month, some of you may know. And they all get together, and this is where they kind of discuss what the mission and the purposes of the organization, and just make sure that we are on track to follow that. Evaluate the chief executive. Review and evaluate performance regularly. Opportunity to ensure that the goals and objectives of the board and the CEO are and stay aligned with one another. Succession planning. So basically, this is checks and balances, and this is just to make sure, again, that we are all on the same page and we are moving forward and doing what we're supposed to be doing within the community. Governed by policy. Governed by policies formulated and agreed upon by chief executive and board of directors, assign priorities and ensure capacity, monitor effectiveness of programs. Another role of the board of directors is to acquire sufficient resources, work in partnership with the chief executive to raise funds from the community, or for the community in some cases, identify and explore alternative means of funding, manage resources effectively, assist in developing annual budget, ensure proper financial controls are in place. So really, guys, this can be anything from a board member actually donating and sponsoring to an event or to something that is going on around the chamber, or just putting in their time. Sometimes that's what we need, our extra hands, and that's considered resources. Account to the public. So accept responsibility for all conditions and policies attached to programs, enhance the organization's public image, garner support from important members of the community, clearly articulate the mission, goals, and accomplishment to the public. Here, we are super proud of our board because we know that they're always out in the community, they're always out interacting, and they are being a wonderful representation of our chamber. All right, bylaws. So bylaws are actually something that if you are on sitting on the board, you actually have to review this and you have to make sure that you are on board with what is in that contract. So they're the governing documents for the chamber, and they define who we are, why we are, and what we do. It defines membership, board of directors, committees, and finances. These are really kind of the rule books that you want to be aware of if you join the board. And it's something that you are made aware of before you join to make sure that it's something you can make sure to fall in line with. So our chamber pillars governing documents for the chambers defines who we are, why we are, and what we do. Defines membership, board of directors, committee, and finances. All right, so we're going to go on and move on to the Chairman's Club. I'm going to bring Stephanie back a little bit later to kind of chat a little bit more in depth about what it means to be on the board and also to answer any questions you might have because you might want to be a part of the board. So we're going to go to Chairman's Club, which is our top tier of membership. This is basically you've kind of reached all of the tiers and you want to be the top of the top. So the Greater Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce's premium membership level is the Chairman's Club. The membership in the Chairman's Club is comprised of CEOs, community trustees, and corporate leaders who participate in exclusive networking and VIP events. Chairman's Club members meet with political and business leaders impacting Delray Beach, Palm Beach County, and the region and the state in a private setting to discuss important ideas and issues affecting our community. Members of the Chairman's Club develop valuable relationships among key businesses and political leaders and lend expertise on these critical issues. This focal point of chief executives and community political leaders remains vigilantly involved in creating, guiding, and supporting well-researched sound decision in Delray's evolving economic environment. So if you want to be in a room with all of the leaders in our town, this is one way to do it. So some of the events that come with Chairman's Club, because you can't have a VIP membership tier without having some VIP events, include private luncheons, behind the scenes tours, first looks, and complimentary entrance to monthly events. Events that usually have a fee attached to them, even for our chamber members, although a small fee, the fee is still there. So if you want to find out more about joining Chairman's Club or maybe more about what we have to offer, make sure you stay tuned to the end of this webinar. And you can also set on a one-on-one appointment with Carolina Rush, who is our membership director, and she can really talk to you about your options and maybe explain to you a little bit more in depth as to why this would be super beneficial for you and your company. All right, so lastly, in our creme de la creme of the top involvement of chamber membership is Leadership Delray. This is a personal favorite of mine, and I am sure Stephanie is going to, she's going to make me talk about my experience a little bit later. So Leadership Delray is a program administered by the Greater Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce to develop exceptional individuals to assume leadership roles in our community. A little fun fact about Leadership Delray is that a lot of the communities across the state have their own. So there's leadership of Boca Raton, there's leadership of Palm Beach County, and all of which are designed to inform you about the community in which you live in. And once you complete your own, you can even go to others to attend them to learn more about the surrounding communities. It consists of intensive training and interactive sessions over the course of 10 months, one day each month. The goal of the program is to provide Delray's leaders of tomorrow with the knowledge to make wise decisions through intense leadership training and to encourage involvement in the significant civic activities, showcase unique portions of our city and community to gain useful, insightful while developing new leadership skills. And something that we don't have here in the presentation, but that they do tell you when you attend orientation, is that it's something that kind of is designed to make you have long-lasting life friendships. And we can talk about that a little bit more at the end, because I'll tell you what, I did not believe that. So Leadership Delray sessions include the following: Delray History and Functions, Education Day, the Most Fun Small Town Day, Parks and Recreation Day, Media Day, Public Safety Day, Health and Human Services Day, and Agricultural Day. So these set days actually tend to evolve a little bit throughout time. So one year might look a little bit different from the rest. However, they are usually pretty consistent. And the reason for these days is because they touch on pretty much every point of the community that you need to know about. And even if you didn't know about them, you need to know about them. So that is what we have for Leadership Delray. We have some cute photos here of past leadership classes. I think that this is from 2019, before the COVID pandemic. So something that is interesting about this is that we have been able to evolve it and make it last through the pandemic. So when we had to, we went virtual, and now we are definitely making our way to moving back in person. But it just goes to show that you can still develop relationships regardless of if it's in person or virtual, because of the information and because of the connections that are provided. So thank you guys for watching the presentation. I know it was a little bit short today, but the reason for that is because I want to bring Stephanie on screen, because these are basically the nitty gritties that you want to get into. It's more than just a presentation on the screen. It's a little bit about getting to know it one-on-one from us. So Stephanie, welcome.
Hey.
Do you have any preferences of where we start today in questions? Always, guys, if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to type them down in the Q&A box, and I will also periodically be checking Facebook. Stephanie, forgive me for looking down, because on occasion we do get questions from Facebook Live. Would you like to start with the board? I know that's your favorite topic.
Yeah, well, I have 29 bosses, so how many people can say that? But they're much less bosses than they are partners and fellow leaders and mentors for me and for the rest of the team. So the board, it changes out. A board membership is usually for 3 years, and we have 3 different sections. So you're going to have overlap with the board at least 1 year, but we have ingoing and outgoing board members every year. So it's a third, a third, a third. And that way, since it's a 3-year-long commitment, you'll definitely get to know your fellow board members and the chamber very well. And especially during COVID, this board has been so supportive of this chamber. They've given their, time and treasure to this organization. And it's not just terms of financial, as you mentioned before. Some of our members are so helpful to be here, to be in the offices if we need them, to help us set up our house membership, with one of them did. And they're all always recruiting new members to join the chamber. It's a constant labor of love for them. And so I really value our board. They come from all walks and every type of organization you can imagine, nonprofits, single-owned businesses, major, large corporations, but they all care about the chamber and they all want us to be successful. And they're all such a big support to the staff. They also have different roles. Sometimes we have leaders of, say, the membership committee, or we have a group that's starting up that's working on developing new chamber products and programs that they're interested in that, or with marketing and programming programs. So as you're a board member, you usually the first year, you just get to know what it's like being on the board. You get to understand the finances, but as you grow in your leadership with the chamber board, you can also take on leadership roles too.
I love that you mentioned all walks of life, because 29 people is a lot, and a well-oiled board really acts as one, united front. And it's amazing that we can have that many people from all different walks come together and make sure that the organization is successful, and knowing in their heart that that's their goal. So now that we're kind of excited about it, because when you think board, it's not just one thing, it is many people. So anybody can really be a part of this. But I do have a question, because board sounds super serious. So when I think of that, I know that I don't have board experience. Would I still be permitted to join, and how would that work?
Well, after you've spent some time in the chamber, you'll probably be recruited or reached out to by people. So if you're participating in leads groups, if you've been active in other committees, then you'll get your name noticed and people will notice you. And if you have a commitment, then they'll usually ask you to join the board. So most of the board members have come up through the ranks, so to speak, in all the ways of these seminars that we've been doing, the maximizing your chamber membership. It's kind of a glide path, I would say, for joining. So you'd be invited to join the board. You fill out an application, and not everybody that applies gets it that first time. Sometimes you have to apply once or twice, depending on how many people are cycling out. But if you have a commitment to the chamber and you wouldn't, request to be on the board, if you didn't, you'll definitely probably get a seat on the board at some point in time. So we've got our YPAD group that we're grooming people to go up the ranks, and we've got some YPAD members that are like, my next step after I turn out a YPAD is I'm going to the board. And that's so great to have. So yeah, it's definitely a progression, a path of progression.
So you mentioned that I might not get on the first time around. So if I don't get approved as a board member, what does that mean for me? Does that mean I should try again? Does that mean I should go out for more events? What can I do to make myself more valuable and wanted to be added to the board?
Yeah, sometimes that happens. And you just, if you believe in the chamber, which most people do that are interested in board membership, they'll just keep doing what they're doing and keep being involved in their leader and their leads groups, for instance, or keep being involved in the special events or helping the staff in any way they can. And yeah, you'll definitely, if you're committed, you'll definitely get a seat on the board eventually.
So if you fall down, try again, as they say.
Yeah.
So, okay, when I think board member, I think money. As in money I will have to give. But I have a small business and I really don't have the funds to consistently sponsor events. I know the chamber does a ton of them and I know there's lots of events going around the community. I just don't have that all of the time to give.
Mhm.
Does this affect my chances of being the board member? I know that I can make a difference. So, are there other options for me?
Of course, there's a small fee associated with being a board member, but it's not just about monetary contributions. Some board members, that's what they can do. They're extremely busy. They're running major organizations like hospitals, so the way that they can contribute a lot of time is financially. But we have other board members that run small businesses or a single-owned business. They give their time. They help us. There's a set of people that I always know that we can count on to help us with our events. And some other board members, and we've got some new ones this year that are really good at bringing in chamber memberships. And that's just as valuable as a board membership, is bringing in other chamber members and bringing them into our community. So there's lots of ways that board members can contribute, and it doesn't just have to be financial.
So it can be come down to time, it can come down to connections. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
lot that makes somebody valuable to being on the board. And we are always looking to have a variety of that because
Yeah,
sometimes we just
absolutely.
need hands around. We really need somebody to come and hang something up on the wall for us because we
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yes, we've asked for that.
We have
Could
one
you
of those.
paint this wall in the back room? But there's lots of ways that people contribute, and they do. And in terms of in-kind sponsorships and helping us out or helping us with promoting things, we've got so many great members that have great specialties. So we count on them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. If you guys have any questions or inquiries about joining the board after this webinar, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to chat with you and hopefully in the future make that happen. Because as Stephanie mentioned, the cycle is always changing. So we always look forward to not only having our members serve us on the board, but when we get to have new ones come in, because it's always a blast for us.
Yeah, it's
So
great to get to know them.
let's talk a little bit about Chairman's Club.
Okay.
Sounds so fancy, that name, huh?
Well, we really like to provide VIP experiences for Chairman's Club. We have fun thinking of them, and of course, we get to go on them,
Right.
like
So
this morning.
so you say VIP, you say fun. I know I saw some luncheons on the presentation that I was going through. But what are some of the locations that Chairman's Club has been held at? I mean, like what is VIP? Tell me that a little bit.
Well, for instance, this morning, let's take this morning, for instance, we showed up to the Delray Beach Market, the brand new Delray Beach Market food hall that just opened, and we got a private behind the scenes tour, complete with coffee and great food and goodie bags to take home. And we got to learn. I learned so much. I think I know everything. I do not. There are so many things that I learned today that the Delray Beach Market is doing, and they were able to talk to us about some of the programs they have coming up. And it's a behind the scenes VIP experience, and that's what we strive to do. Next month, for instance, we'll be going to Lionfish for a private lunch. They don't open for lunch, but they're opening for Chairman's Club for lunch. We usually have speakers. You never know if you're going to get the sheriff to come in, or Dave Ehrenberg from the state attorney, or Mike Caruso, our representative, or the mayor. We always like to have speakers come in. And even during the pandemic, we kept some interesting speakers going. For instance, Art Hogan works for, I think, National Securities, and he is a pundit on CNBC, on Fox Business News, on CNN about global economic market. The last event we had before COVID, he came in town in person, and we were in the wine room and the speakeasy in the back room, and he spoke to us about the global markets. And even during COVID, he zoomed in from Boston to talk a little bit about what's happening in the economic environment during COVID. What did he see coming forward? So we get insight from not over our local leaders, but sometimes national leaders and business people as well.
And if I'm correct, he's actually flown in twice to come speak to us, which is
He
pretty
has.
sweet. It's always nice to have a famous person in the room, as they say.
Yeah.
So a little birdie though told me this morning that our sponsor of Chairman's Club, which is Waste Management, had something fun for them to do, a little bit of an activity. Can you tell me about that and maybe
Yeah.
why it's so special?
It's going to go up on social media today for sure. So they brought in one of their giant waste management national natural gas trucks, garbage trucks in. So we did a fun photo shoot hanging off the waste management truck, which was really great. They're an excellent partner to us, and they enable us to provide these wonderful experiences for the Chairman's Club members. We got to hear what they're doing, what innovations that they're having in place. So it's wonderful always to hear from Waste Management what they're up to, and we're so lucky to have them as a partner for Chairman's Club.
And that technology that they were talking about today, it is basically, it's all done on their own. It's their research team that's done it. They have their own technicians that allow for the natural gas to be used on those trucks. And for us here in Delray, the little beachside community, we love when the environment is being taken care of. And we are so proud to have them, be a part of the team and be involved. And the fact that they went above and beyond to do that is just amazing, I think.
They're all about the environment. And as Ellen Smith would say, waste management business is picking up.
All right, wonderful. So, okay, I've seen some pretty cool stuff that the Chairman's Club, not only what you just spoke about, but every now and then I see it on the website or I see it promoted. And I'm not a Chairman's Club member, but I've wanted to go to some of those things. Am I able to attend that?
Well, for a fee, maybe once a year, for a $50 fee, you can probably attend one of the events that we have. Of course, not all of them, but if you want to dive into one to see what it's like and see the people that you meet, I'm happy for someone to come in and test it out, do a test drive.
Yeah, wonderful. Because, of course, if I see something I like, I might just swing on in permanently.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, sampling, it's a marketing term.
All right, wonderful. Did you have anything else that you wanted to touch base on Chairman's Club? Is there anything else you wanted to speak on regarding that?
Oh, I forgot. Look behind you. Behind you have the baskets that we do. I forgot about that. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, exactly. When you become a Chairman's Club member, we want you to stay long term. You obviously get your own name tag, and within the name tag, you'll get this a beautiful fulfillment package that we work with Sack Lunch Marketing on, with your lots of goodies inside. So we definitely will deliver that to you after you become a Chairman's Club member. And we want to treat these members really well and make sure they're really happy with this program. So that's one of the little perks that you get. You get a lot of perks as a Chairman's Club member.
Those goodies are so fun. Whenever I see something really cool come in from a member that wants to donate to these fulfillment packages, I always want to grab something. And of course, I can't because I'm not a Chairman's Club member, but maybe one day I will be. All right. Well, thank you so much. So let's, I guess, round this out. Let's talk about Leadership Delray. As we know, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I do have some questions for you, Stephanie.
Okay.
I saw that it's 10 months, basically. It's a year-long program of commitment. I'm very busy and I don't know if I have the time to attend something like Leadership Delray. So why is this something that I would want to do?
Well, it's one of the best experiences I've had in the 12 years I've lived in Delray Beach. Was the time that I spent in Leadership Delray, which is the first or second year that I came here. The lifelong connections that I made were amazing. And as you progress through the community and through your career, these people that you meet are progressing alongside of you, and you build connections. And it's like a shorthand that you have. If you've known someone through Leadership Delray, they understand about how city government works, and how the police and fire department works, and how the water system works, and how the county works, and how the agricultural system works. They have had such a great, well-rounded learning experience through Leadership Delray that you automatically know that if someone's been through Leadership Delray, they'll have an understanding of the community and how everyone works together, and you get to know each other really well. I mean, you have a story about that, don't you?
I do have a story. I do have a story.
Well,
Um,
tell them.
they make fun of me for this story now. But when I started here, I had been here, I don't know, maybe 2 months. And I had actually transitioned to a different role from which I had started. And at that time, the leadership program for the year was kicking off. And Stephanie, my superior, and another colleague of mine cornered me in a room and told me, "You are doing this program." And I said, "I'm not doing this program. I have no time to do this. Like, why are you going to send me away on a field trip once a month. So when I could really be here in the office getting things done, and I'm just too busy, I can't do it. And they were like, that's fine and dandy, with a nice little smile on their face, but you're doing it. And so I begrudgingly, attended these first couple of meetings. And I myself am very shy sometimes. And it was a lot for me to be in a room with complete strangers. There was, 20 of them. And I found myself kind of sitting in a little corner and kind of hoping nobody talked to me. And quickly, very quickly, I was integrated into the group. Before I even knew it, I was having conversations and speaking with people. And I feel like as an adult, sometimes it's very hard to do. When you're a kid, you go into school and, this is not a COVID friendly joke, but as a 6-year-old, you take a lollipop and hand it to another kid and you're very happy and you're best friends for life. But as an adult, it's much harder to do that. And I found myself being so excited to attend these events because it was mostly my peers. Some of them not so much, some of them, a little older, but that was still fine because it was a connection that was being made. And I was really looking forward every single day to come in and to ask them about their week and ask them what's going on in their industry, and something that I would never have been able to do. You just don't make those connections over an email or a phone call, or even sometimes just meeting someone once. It's very hard to do that. It takes repetition. And the first 2 months, I very crankily got on our little school bus that we had, and then for the next 9 months or 8 months, I wouldn't even come into the office. I was waiting outside with my little bag and ready to go, and it was just such a fun experience for me. I've actually left the program with several friends from industries around the community, some of whom I consider very close, some of who attended my wedding. So
See, you do
I
make lifelong friends in this program.
I really can't imagine not knowing these people moving forward. And I think that's something so special that one day down the road, I'll have to call somebody up for a favor or a lunch date, and they're going to be here. They're going to be involved and around to chat. I know that I've seen actually Stephanie be out and about and say, "Oh, I went to leadership with that person." And, we strike up a conversation of some sort. So it really is a fascinating program. And you learn so much. I almost quit the chamber to go work at the agricultural farm because I was so fascinated with how sugar grew, and something I just didn't know. I was the one to ask, "Does white sugar get bleached?" Because I had heard that wives' tale, and they very nicely told me, "No, it does not." And after that, I was hooked. I just can't express how much fun it was to spend the time and to get involved in a program that just shares so much information that you otherwise would not know.
Yeah. You wouldn't have the opportunity. When do you have the opportunity to really get to know someone from the police department or the fire department or the state sustainability department or the CRA or from nonprofits or for law firms or from major companies or from the chamber? When do you get a chance to have all those people in a room together over once a month for over a 10-month period and get to know them? And then you'll always know them. You'll always know someone in the police and fire department. And it's really important. And you'll know how they get trained and how the dogs get trained and how you cut somebody out of a car. I saw you do that on
I
a
mean,
video.
so I hate to ramble, guys, but I feel like I have to tell you, because aside from the people, the experiences, I mean, I got to go pick my own little romaine head, my own little celery head from the farm, and I got to get in full firefighter gear and spray the hose and cut open a door, and I got to get in a tank at the police department. I mean, just things that would never come up in normal circumstances, and it's just so much fun. I can't think about the program without smiling, because it really does bring me so much joy. And
It's really
pregnant,
great.
so I get
Last
to tag
week, I
along.
know. It's great. Last week, as a matter of fact, we had leadership Delray, and we were at the South Florida Proton Center, and we got to hear from the head neurosurgeon of Delray Beach Medical. We got to see and hear about the proton treatments, and this is one of only 38 cities in the country that has them, but there's one in Delray. There's so much to learn, so many behind the scenes tours that you get to do. So it's so worthwhile. So we hope that you'll join our 2022 class.
So in regards to experiences though, Stephanie, how did you guys manage COVID? What did you do did you cancel the program? Like, what happened during all of that?
Well, we had to rethink it, obviously, and what we did is we delayed the start. So we decided to do it in the January to December year instead of during a fiscal year. So we delayed it for a couple of months, and we started it in February this year, and it'll go from February to November. And the first one or two classes that we had it at Arts Garage. They have an enormous space. We're able to wear masks, have boxed lunches, and spread out. But now that most people have had their vaccines, we have quickly rescheduled to in-person field trips. So from now on, we'll be going out to Wakota Wetlands. We'll be visiting the police and fire department, the sheriff's department, discover the Palm Beaches. Hopefully Ag Day is coming up soon. They're just about to open up their tours again. So we've definitely scheduled it. So we're doing the in-person events, getting on a bus and spending the day together, doing amazing things that you would never have the chance to do unless you did Leadership Delray.
Wonderful. And even I think when you guys had to do virtual, you got some pretty cool people to Zoom in, didn't you?
We always do. Of course we do. So Jerry Zarnacki is the founder of the National Leadership Institute. So we had a day on leadership. So he did a 2-hour course on leadership that was incredibly invaluable, provided each of the members with his book that he wrote recently. And then we were able to meet in person and have lunch afterwards to talk a little bit about what are the quotes that mean the most to us in terms of leadership. And the mayor came, and the head of the CRA and the head of the DDA and our chair from the Delray Beach Chamber came. So we always have opportunity to do that, to meet all the mayors. We have a mayor's luncheon as well. So all of the former mayors come to that, and we have a great meeting. So you will meet the most amazing people in this course.
Yeah, the Mayor's Day was super cool just to see all the mayors in one room. It was just a really neat experience.
It is.
Uh, so these are all program or scheduled in advance, the program. So what if I miss a few of those days of Leadership Delray? What happens?
Well, the most you can miss is 2, or you won't be able to graduate. But like it's happened this year, some people couldn't make it because of COVID or different health situations that they had. So I just transferred their Leadership Delray class to next year. So we could transfer it to another year if we absolutely have to. But you got to attend it or you won't graduate. And our graduation is going to take
Wait,
place
you said
at
graduate,
legislative lunch.
like a real graduation, like I get a diploma and everything?
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. And we have it at the legislative lunch. So the state legislators come in, all of our representatives in the area. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving because they're here with the constituency. They come in and speak about what's going on in Tallahassee, and that's when Leadership Delray gets to experience our graduation and meet all the state legislators.
Wonderful. That's very neat. All right. Well, I think that was all the questions I have. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch base on today?
Oh, no, I think that we've covered it, but there's so many ways to get the most out of your chamber membership, and that's what this series is about. And starting with number 1, 5 things you can do right now to make the most of your membership, and progressing on to the pinnacle, which would be Chairman's Club, Leadership Delray, and board membership. And I hope all of our memberships will take a look at these different programs, and obviously they'll be on the website if you want to review them. But there's so many ways to be involved in your community. We're a community chamber, and this is the best way. This is the pinnacle way for these 3 programs to be involved.
And she's not wrong, guys. There really is so many ways. There's so much information. We had to break this up into a 5-part series. And I kind of feel we just scratched the surface. So if you've reviewed something and you have questions or you want to know more, please set up appointments with us. We do have Lynn here who is in the front office, typically Monday through Friday. She is happy to set up a one-on-one with you. And any one of us here really is excited to sit down and chat because we want you to be involved in every way that makes sense for you. So thank you again for joining us, and you can always find these webinars on Facebook, YouTube, and the Chamber's website. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.